Good morning everybody and welcome to our 16th sofa service. Welcome this morning, maybe you've just found us for the first time. You're very welcome here this morning or whenever it is that you watch this service. It's been great hearing how people have been able to tune in and connect with the journey of the church and the journey we've been taking on together through different sermon series and worshipping together, but being able to do that at a time that suits you. And so as we gather this morning, I'm going to hand over to the Matthews family who are going to open our service in prayer.
God, we gather as your people. We come to walk our journey together, to talk and to share along the way, to connect with each other and to know Jesus. Help us to marvel at all that Jesus has done for us. Amen.
Consider all the works thy hands have made. I see the stars, I hear the rolling thunder, thy power throughout the universe displayed. Then sings my soul, turned into wine. Open the eyes of the blind. There's no one like you, none like you. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you. is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Into the darkness you shine. Out of the ashes we rise. There's no one like you, none like you. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? Then what could stand against? Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. Our God is greater, our God is stronger. God, you are higher than any other. Our God is healer, awesome in power. Our God, our God. And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? And if our God is for us, then who could ever stop us? And if our God is with us, then what could stand against? What could stand against? What could stand against?
Psalm 78, verses 1 to 4. My people, hear my teaching. Listen to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth with a parable. I will utter hidden things, things from of old, things we have heard and known, things our ancestors have told us. We will not hide them from their descendants. We will tell the next generation the praiseworthy deeds of the Lord, his power and the wonders he has done.
Thank you, Cheryl, for bringing us that reading. We will not keep from them our children. We will tell the next generation about the Lord's power and his great deeds and the wonderful things he has done. We will tell the next generation the wonderful things he has done. And so for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be thinking about what are the wonderful things that God has done during lockdown. What are the wonderful things that God has done in your life whilst we've not been meeting? How have you seen God at work? And so this week we're just going to think a little bit about that, about the stories of how God works in our lives, how he draws our attention to things, how he helps us to notice where he's working. And then next week we're going to have a testimony service. We've done a few of them in church when we're all together, but we're going to try one in sofa service. So next week will be a time of sharing. So as I'm speaking today, hopefully you've got our email this week. If you're not getting our church emails but would like to, drop me a message or comment on Facebook. My email address will pop up throughout this service at various points. So that's one of the best ways to find out what's going on. So next Sunday, it will be about all of you sharing what God has been doing in your life. Where have you seen God at work over these past few months? What's he been doing in your life? So I'd love you to send me your videos of what he's been doing. Let's share that together. Let's encourage one another. Let's save that as this video that will be on YouTube about telling the next generation what God did when we were in lockdown, what God did when the coronavirus was here. But as we think about that, let's just look back. As I opened the service today, we've had 16 sofa services so far. We've had Easter. There's part of me I can't believe we did Easter in lockdown. It seems so long ago, so early on as we were trying to navigate the way forward. How do we meet? How do we meet online? The wonders of Zoom that 6 months ago, even 4 months ago, we'd never heard of, and these days it's the way for a lot of us. We're living our lives. It's the way we've been able to catch up after these services and find out what's going on with people and just share life together. We've done the 24/7 prayer, or the 27/3 prayer should I say, praying for 3 days all together. We've done the lockdown prayer garden. We've tried Friday special on Zoom. Lots of different things, lots of different creativity of how we can continue to worship together, meet together, share Jesus with people who don't know him. But not just the things that we've done, the things that have changed. Yes, we joke about Zoom being a regular part of our lives. I never thought I'd have a YouTube channel as a church. But also, one of the key things is the fact that we've been worshipping in our homes. Faith has come into our homes. It's not something that happens at church in the church building. It's something that happens in us wherever we are, in our homes. And one of the great things, one of the things that I've really loved, is the fact that having sofa service online, yes, we can watch it at 10 o'clock on a Sunday and gather afterwards on Zoom. But for those who are working at that time, for those whom 10 o'clock is too early, for those for any number of reasons as to why people normally can't make a Sunday morning service, they haven't missed out, but have been able to watch, have been able to journey with us, have been able to be involved and feel more and more a part of the church. And that for me has been a great joy and something that we're going to carry forward in this time. We're not going to lose our online presence. We may, and I'll explain shortly about returning to church, but keeping that online kind of catch-up service, I suppose, is something that we're going to be keeping for the long haul. As I think about noticing, about looking back, where is it that God has been at work? I've been struck And I shared this with the PCC on Monday about the story of Moses and that burning bush. The bush, he was out doing his ordinary things, the normal day-to-day things that his day would have involved. And he spotted a bush on fire. And maybe that wasn't particularly unusual given the climate. But then he noticed and was drawn in by the fact that the bush was on fire, but it wasn't burning. And that struck me about being something ordinary, but then just something not quite ordinary that draws us in. And at that point he realised God is here. God is in this moment. God is getting my attention. But Moses had to stop. He had to notice. He had to have the time to not be so distracted, but to just be able to be drawn in by that bush. And so over these next few days, as you're thinking, reflect back. Were there some burning bushes along the way? Maybe at the time you didn't spot that there was something of God there. Something in the ordinary, but a little bit unordinary. Go back to that place with God and say, God, were you trying to get my attention? What was it you were trying to tell me? I've loved our week off last week and a lot of this time in lockdown, being out in the garden with Joseph as he's exploring, and that first song in the service today, when I saw that video, I thought I just have to put that in, because children notice. They notice so much. Sometimes it's frustrating when they notice every leaf and pebble and stone and stick, but at the same time they make us slow down, and their sense of wonder and then noticing is great, just looking through that different lens. So take some time to look back. Where are those burning bushes? Where are those God moments? Maybe it's not individual moment for you. Maybe it's a whole sense of how God has been with you during lockdown. Whatever it is for you, where are God's footprints? That's why I chose that slide for our services over this week and next week, about where's God's footprints. As you look back, where can you see that God has been moving and working? So I'd love you to record your thoughts, just a short video, and send those in to me by next Friday lunchtime, and we'll put that together. There won't be a talk next week. It will be all about us sharing together what God has been doing. And so if we're looking back on what God's been doing, and I want to look forward to where we're going to be going next, and a little bit more of a practical nature, and just to fill you in on where we're heading. So Sofa Service, as I mentioned, isn't going anywhere. It may change its format as we go along, and as public worship and us meeting together on a Sunday morning in the church building grows, but at the moment Sofa Service remains. So for those of you who are loving the fact you can watch church in your pyjamas, then carry on doing that. Another thing though, that as restrictions are being lifted, if you feel comfortable to do so, and I know a lot of us are missing that community and that sense of meeting together, we are allowed to meet with another household as long as we're socially distancing, and therefore if you wanted to meet up with another household and watch Sofa Service together to create some of that sense of community, and as Christians meeting together and supporting and encouraging one another, then do feel free to do that. And if you do that, then do let us know. Send us a picture of you all together watching Sofa Service whilst you're socially distanced. But then the other thing that's happening, which is really exciting, is that we are going to start coming back to public worship. So start to have a service in the church building. So from next Sunday, Sunday the 19th of July, we're going to be starting a 9 o'clock communion service. It is of course going to look a little bit different. We need to limit the number of people who can come and be in the building at any time. to make sure that we're sticking to the social distancing guidelines, and therefore we've put that limit as 20 people. So, as you can imagine, I need you to sign up. How that's going to work, thank you for those who have already responded to the email I sent out this week. But we want to try and accommodate everybody according to how they most feel comfortable. So what I'd love you to do is let me know whether you're dying to come back, and if you can be in that first service back, then let me at it. So A, are you dying to come back, really want to be there? B, you'd love to come to a service but you're happy to let others go first, so you're happy to wait a few weeks. Or C, actually you don't feel comfortable to come back to church yet to gather in the building with other people, and that is absolutely understandable. We know that will be the case for many people. This is a starting small and very gradual steps to us meeting together. So if you can let me know whether A, you really want to come back, B, you want to come back but you're happy to let others go first, and C, not yet, then we will allocate you into services according to how people are wanting to come. And so we'll let you know when you'll be able to come for a service, and kind of doing it by invitation so that we don't get the same people booking it up all the time. But obviously, of course, as demand grows, it could be that 20 people works for a little while, but then we start to introduce another service and just see how things change as we go. Things are changing all the time. So at the moment, that's the way we're going to be working it. A little bit about what it will be like. There'll be social distancing. The chairs will be spaced out between the rows, and then we'll ask for people to leave 4 chairs. 4 chairs is roughly the 2 metres between households. We've got hand sanitiser on the door if you come in, and on the door if you leave. We'll have a one-way system in place. And then for the communion, I'll be following all the Church of England guidelines about administering communion. So it will be in bread only. We're not able to share the peace at the moment, and everything will remain covered as I pray over the bread. So therefore none of kind of air droplets or anything like that can touch anything, and I will of course be washing my hands and sanitising my hands. When it comes to the distribution of the bread, obviously we will be closer at that point, and therefore I'm going to wear a mask. That is to care for you and to protect you. Obviously we don't know who's carrying the virus, and so at that point I will put a mask on. There is no masks are not compulsory, but they are slightly advisable, so if you want to wear a mask and you would feel more comfortable wearing a mask, then do feel free to do so. And of course there is absolutely no pressure to receive communion if you come to the service. So if you would like to be part of the service but you don't yet feel comfortable receiving the bread from me, then that is absolutely fine. Just come to the service and be part of that and the sharing of Jesus' story together. I think that's all of the practical bits of what it's going to look like. Sorry, there's so many little bits. We won't be able to sing as we meet together, but we will be able to have music, and as things change, as guidance changes, then we will change things accordingly. But let's be excited about what God has been doing. I can't wait. I love it when we have a testimony service. They're some of my favourite times, and often I know that when we're in church, God spurs us on. And he gives us that feeling in our chest that you've got to get up and you've got to share what God's been doing. And so I pray that feeling comes earlier for you this week. And if you don't want to send a video in, then drop me an email or a phone call, and I can put up little quotes and we can incorporate it that way if you'd rather not do a video. But let's be thinking about how God has been working in this strange time. But there are so many positive stories coming out of it, and as we start to move forward, as we start to meet together for public worship from next Sunday, let's not forget the things that God has been doing in us during this time. Amen.
You breathe life, you restore, awaken my soul. I know that I've been made for more. You speak truth, you renew. When I'm in your presence, you show me the glory of you. Spirit, fall. Spirit, fall. Fall on us, for we are yours. Fall on us, for we are yours. You will make all things new.
So just a few quick things to let you know about in addition to everything that I shared in my talk. We're no longer going to be opening church up for private prayer on Saturdays. Miranda is back from furlough leave on Monday, so you can email the church office. The church office is going to remain closed for the time being, and Miranda will be working from home, but you can email that address and she is available. And also, we're not going to be running our Friday special Zooms over the summer, but that's to make way for our sizzling summer Fake Away fun. So over the Fridays of the school holidays, starting this Friday, so the 17th, we're going to be putting together some Bible-based activity packs alongside some fakeaways, so pizzas, maybe an Indian meal one night, different things like that is a bit like a takeaway, but you need to go home and pop it in the oven or the microwave depending on what it is. So to sign up for those, do let me know. Contact us through our Facebook page and you can see the advertising on there, or do drop me an email to sign up, whether you would like the activity pack and the food or just the activity pack. And there'll be everything in there that you need to complete the activity, so glue, scissors, pens, paper, everything that you need, along with the specifics of each activity for each week of the school holidays. I think that's everything I need to let you know about. But just to share that our final song this week comes out of conversations that I've been having over meetings this week, and particularly out of our Bible course. So there was a lot of talk about wanting to be more glowing and wanting to be ultimately more filled in the Spirit, but we wanted to go out shining, we wanted to go out glowing. And so you might, the moment I said it, you might have guessed it, and we had the song a few weeks ago and everyone really enjoyed it. So I'm sure you've guessed, we're going to finish with Shine Jesus Shine, but before we do, we'll hand back to the Matthews family and they can close in prayer.
Lord Jesus, fill us with excitement for your story and your story in us, so that when we go out, we want to tell our friends all about you. Amen.